Welcome to another episode of Injury Time. With me, the ever controversial and evergreen Orko Tweets one. Right? We have Sandy known him. Right? Of course, he has a name. He's not no name. Right? Hi
Yes.
Sandeep, how's it in Bangalore?
Good. It's getting hotter. I mean, it's not hot, but it's not that cold anymore. So
Mm.
it's given me a headache and blocked nose and all the changing temperature.
If you want a cold, I can get you a ticket to Delhi. And
I will be coming to Delhi middle of next month. So I will. I'm already
right.
trying to figure out whose thermals I can borrow because I don't want to buy a thermals.
It
By the
won't
time
be
you come,
that cold.
you won't need a thermal. Right?
I'm from Kerala. It's
Okay.
quite cold. It might be quite cold still for me. And
Hmm. We also have the returning Abreshmina Kadri. Hi,
Returning. Hi.
Abreshmina.
Was I on a sabbatical or something?
It feels like you were
she
missing
was
for
there
a
for the
couple.
first match of the
She
Asian
was
Cup.
there, that's what. And
Yeah.
then there was a couple of things, of course, the Ambekar one I did. And for
Hmm.
people who haven't checked it out, please check out our interview with Abhishek Ambekar, one of the most humble people you can ever meet. And I'm sure Sandeep hasn't watched it. He's just a bad person to have
I
as a
was
guest.
watching it live when he was saying "Papa, Mama bhi wo dekh rahe hai." You've given the links and all that. So,
Okay,
such
cool.
bad impression you have of me, and you're telling people also this.
I think you were both watching live.
Yeah. By the way, it says, yo guys, welcome back. Yes, we aim to be more regular, and that is under my stewardship, so I give myself the credit. But before getting into anything, I'll just throw the question to Abreshmina. Startup Abreshmina, she's back for a third time with the national team. I can't believe this, right? It's quite shocking, right?
Yeah.
And
let
we
me
are going
let
to
me do the introduction.
right.
Abreshmina, Chaoba is back for the third time with the national team, women's national team, that is, which are important factors that Orko has conveniently skipped. So,
Hmm.
tell us about the situation. I'll come to Orko about the history because you are the one who wrote the story before.
Yeah.
Abby, you can tell me about the situation right now.
So I mean, honestly, when I read that thing as and when she was recommended only as head coach, I think that is when I I really could not hold on, and I just literally reposted it saying really short memory because it's not been that long, guys. I mean, we may think that a few years have passed and so on, but it's really not been that long since people in the women's national team, players, seven Manipuri players, had a problem with Chauba and were boycotted the team. People only got back after they wrote apology letters and so on. So it's been a lot of ruckus. And like Orko just mentioned, it's Chauba's third stint with the women's national team, and she does not carry a great reputation, to be very, very honest. Okay, fine. I mean, I am of the belief that people change with time, but again, that is something that we'll have to see. But there's still quite a few players in the team who were there at that time too. So I'm not sure how the dynamics work in that case. Um,
Bala Devi boycotted because
exactly.
of because
Bala
of
was
Chamba.
one of the players. Yeah.
Bala
So
players boycotted Chamba.
Orko will give
Orko,
you
since
that.
you are
Hmm.
touching on the topic, let's look at it. Back in the golden days when Orko was still writing articles for Scroll India, he wrote this article in 2018 about this boycott in the women's national team, which turned a lot of heads back in that time also. So, Orko, let's give us a refresher to people who don't know what is happening. There are a lot of questions about Dennerby as well, which we will get into. But first, just give us a background of why this third stint is so complicated or so confusing. You are muted.
The problem that I see is that it's pretty tone deaf actually, right? And I mean it's kind of going against the wishes of and look, if there's a person who makes your best player, maybe for 3 decades, 4 decades, quit the
Just
national team.
give a background for people who
Yes,
don't know
okay.
what happened. Yeah.
Right, right. Okay. So Chaoba Devi is coming back for the third time to the national team. Let me give an introduction of Chaoba Devi. She's an ex-player, right? She used to be a player along with Memol Rocky, right? And before that, I just like to share live footage of Chaoba Devi coming back to the national team. Everyone, please bear with me, right? Oh yes, there it is. You can see, you can see her coming back to the national team. But no, all jokes aside, right? Uh, sorry, that was just a very poorly planned Undertaker joke. But apart from that, Chaba first joined the national team somewhere in the 2000s, right? She had a major falling out with the players back then. She was an active player with Memol, I think somewhere till 2005 6, right? She had a falling out with the players in her first stint, right? And she was removed after everybody came and complained against her, right? Then, and since then, she started what is Indian football's one of oldest women only setups, that is Krifsa. Krifsa club in Manipur is Chaubas, right? Then when Memol became the coach, and I think Memol became the coach after the women's national team shipped 25 goals in 3 matches in their Olympic and Asian Cup qualifiers. Sajid Dar was sacked unceremoniously, and Memol became. So who did Memol call to be the assistant? Her old friend Chaoba Devi. Right now, I'm trying to pull out. Right, I think I have, yes. Trying to pull out the article that I myself wrote, right? In 20 in 2018,
Yeah.
right? There it is. 7 Manipuri players who pulled out of the national team write to AFF complaining of favoritism. The letter addressed to the AFF General Secretary Kushal Das failed to elicit a response from the federation. Shock horror, as usual. This is 2019, right? But India had started the year strongly, right? But somewhere in the middle they lost, they lost to Kazakhstan, which is not great, right? Bala Devi, Kamla Devi, right? Margaret uh, Panthoy, who was the number one at that point of time. Sorry, there's a paywall, right? One of them used expletives, right? These are their exact words regarding Chauba. One of them even used expletives to many of us now and then, which are intolerable. Their attitude resulted in a lack of camaraderie, which was seen in the result against Nepal. Not only are the arrogant challenging the players now and then saying we will not be selected if we do not toe their line. We follow what is instructed in the field as per their plan, but they are hell bent on destroying the gamesmanship by openly showing favoritism, which was pointed out, but it made both of them even more vindictive. This letter also kind of alludes to the fact that Memol was also part of this. Not only in selection of players for the team, but even for fielding, there is favoritism. This letter is nuts. Is nuts, right? It didn't make a lot of waves because women's football isn't really popular, right? But for somebody there, for the entire committee, I'm saying sack this committee, because if they didn't know, they should educate themselves as to what happened in the not too distant past, right? So now this person not returned as the assistant coach. This time, this person is the head coach of the team, right? So this is the appointment that they have made, right? I have half a mind to write an email to them saying, "What the hell are you thinking?" Right? But I don't think that will make much of a difference. They've always been tone deaf, as you can see from the article. But Bala Devi is in the twilight of her career. We know that they don't get along really well, but we also know that she was the first one to apologize. She was the first one to get back. Panthoy for a long time. refused to apologize. Her injury wasn't really taken care of by the federation. A promising career was lost. Kamla just quit in frustration. She just resigned from the national team in frustration. She said, "I will not apologize."
Not apologize. We spoke to her. I think during the IWL. I'm
During
guessing.
the nationals,
Yeah, yeah, during the nationals, and she was like, "I'm not going to apologize. I might not play in the national team, but I'm okay with that. I don't want to apologize." And she never apologized.
and I
I,
love Kamla for this. I have to give it to Kamla. She didn't give in to this bully. She didn't give in to this person. She said, "I'm not going to apologize to you. Look at what you're doing." Right? And you're talking about favoritism, right? These are seven Manipuri players complaining about a Manipuri coach,
A
right?
lot of them played for Cripsa also.
Lot of them played for Krifsa. Lot of them never returned to Krifsa. Margaret, for example, has never come back to the national team after that, right? She said, enough is enough. Like, this is nonsense. And she focused on building a life away from football, right? That was effectively the end of Kamla Devi's career. And Kamla Devi was the Mesut Ozil, if I have to compare, of like what a player, what a sensational player. She never came back from that. And you're turning around. I saw this appointment. I was like, holy shit, what the hell have they done? What the hell have they? And I want to pull out the names of the committee members who made this happen so that everybody watching this pod knows exactly who made this call.
So while you do that, Abby, I'm just wondering, like, and I know some sort of an answer of this, but you are more
But
of
what,
an
but
expert in
but
this
but
field
what
than
sort
me.
of? I just want to say this before it one. What sort of message is this sending out? That we don't care at all. We don't give a shit. Go on.
Yeah. So is there a problem in lack of coaches for women's team? Because there are the usual suspects. Priya's there, Chaoba has come. There are a few names that we hear, Chitra and all of them. Is there a serious lack of coaches in the women's team? Or is there a serious lack of coaches generally? Because the last time men was a coach, so men can be a coach of women's team also.
I think since Memol, they have tried to find a women's coach for the team. And yes, there is a lack of good women's coaches. Also, one with the higher end in terms of the licenses, also. So there's a serious lack there because most of the women coaches do not have your A license and so on. So that becomes a big problem, obviously. Uh, but I still feel that there could be better appointments, to be very honest. I don't think it's still justified. I really do hope there's been a change of heart because we would not like to, none of us, I think, would want to see that mess turn around and come back again, to be very honest, because I don't think it was a very bad time for the national team as well, and the national team did suffer because of it, because these were some of the best players of the team who pulled out, and the team did suffer because of it. So obviously, I don't think any of us would want to see something like that go down again. But I mean, I'm really not sure. I'm not sure how the internal strength of the team would work in that case, because what is what is worrying to me is, what if there are there are divisions in the team. Some people are okay with Chauba and some are not. It reflects on the games at the end of the day. It will always reflect on the field if the players get divided into group and don't have the same goal. It'll always reflect on the pitch. So these are just these are things behind the scenes that um, they should have thought of before making this appointment. And that's my only worry, to be very honest. It's division of the team, because we have seen that some people are all right with just doing what they are told to do and keep going. I mean, good for them. There's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, what what if other people are not okay with doing that? It's dividing the team, no? It's just it's not a good. Um, it's not something that makes the team work in terms of the games. So yeah.
I'd I'd like to add on to, and I have a lot of things to say because I've just got to get this off my chest because it's really terrible. This appointment is really terrible, right? I am Vision. No, he's a puppet there. Satya, he may not have known about it, right? Pinky Bompal Nagar knows she was a player during that time. She knows exactly how divisive Chaoba is, right? Harjinder Singh, Aruna, Climax Lawrence, Eugene, right? Sabir Pasha, all of these guys, if they knew about it and they did it, they should hang their heads in shame. If they didn't know about it, they should have done a background check, basic background check. This is very basic, right? Also, I disagree with Abby. There are good coaches, like there are in the men's team, there are good women's coaches. Yes, they don't hold the licenses because some people get that organic push, and it's not an open secret that some people are preferred in coaching courses over the others. For example, Gokulam had a really good women's coach, right? She went on to coach Mumbai Knights in last year's IWL, right? She's a good coach. I know a couple of other people. Abby's herself is a coach, and her
Say the
rating,
name. Say the name of the coach.
Rutuja, that's her name, right? Uh, Abby herself, her reading of the game is really good. She has a grassroots license, but even if she were to attend these courses today, there's no guarantee she would pass over these people who know the instructor, who know somebody in the coaching department, right? The basic problem lies there. Let's be very honest, right? The coaching courses are not as transparent as black and white, right? That's one, right? Chauba, I'm inclined to ask what she's done, right? Today her team lost 5-1 to Hops, and Hops play, I'm sorry, pedestrian football. Like it's not even like funny, right?
Ops
Priya
a
P.
mid-table team, man.
Hops, yeah, but they're only mid-table because that indicates the strength of the league. That indicates how bad the league really is, right? Let me come to Priya PV, right? Priya PV fluffed India's best chance of securing an AFC trophy that India might have for decades in a easy group, right? Gokulam won one game and they lost two. And then when Anthony Andrews took over, you could immediately see the improvement. Then Priya PV also led India at the SAF under 20 championships, and they fluffed their lines there also, right? So it's these are not the only coaches, these are just lazy appointments, right? Why didn't Anthony Andrews get the job? I'll tell you why he didn't get the job. Because he was offered the job, but he was offered it for 3 months till the Olympic qualifiers. They wanted a scapegoat for the qualifiers and they were looking, and this guy said, absolutely not. I have a full-time gig at Gokulam. That's more of job security. That's a 2 month contract. That's a 2 year contract as vis-a-vis a 3 month contract. Nobody can create miracle in 3 months. It's impossible. It's impossible. Right? So I mean it's just like these are just very lazy appointments. That's all I have to say about this.
So, what do you make of Thomas Dennerby's unceremonious, silent, left foot off stage exit?
I don't know, but he was the best coach India have had for decades since the inception of the women's team. And Abreshmina, you can correct me if I'm wrong. We have not seen a lot of those coaches, but in the decade that we've spent covering Indian women's football, Dennerby has to be the best of the lot.
Yeah, he was the best that we've had in the last decade for sure. When I have seen, um, I I just felt towards the end when you would see him on the sidelines also that he was done. His face said it, like he's not been able to do the things that he wanted to do. He honestly, I did not feel like he could totally improve the players like he wanted. um Obviously there are lots of reasons. It's selections, it's how sessions are taken, all of that stuff, obviously, and
Mhm.
obviously the current level of Indian women's football as well. I don't think he could achieve what he really wanted to do. That's my assessment of him towards the end, because I could see on his face where he was like, okay, we're just getting through things now. He was just doing his job. And
Mm.
I don't think his heart was fully into it anymore. And I think that has had a part to play. I mean, maybe he wasn't too sure of continuing, or obviously it was costing the AFF a lot of money to keep him as well. So
Yeah.
And
Also,
one of the things I'm most proud of is that I was able to successfully and correctly guess that he is going to transition from senior junior team to senior
he
team
had to. He
without
had.
a different, like, there was no just like a guess only, but educated guess.
But
Knowing what he
obviously
said.
there are no junior matches. There nothing happens. So why would they keep a coach who they're paying in USD at the
No, they
junior
were
level?
supposed to keep him only till the World Cup, right? That was the whole
Uh,
blah, blah, blah. But
but then they
Asian Cup
realized
happened and then they played.
uh, they looked at our coaching setup and they're like, holy shit, we really lack coaches, and they got him right. But adding on to Abreshmina, the problem doesn't lie with Dennerby. He couldn't succeed because the talent that's coming to him, and why can't we have more transparency, right? um there are some clubs who always hold sway, right? Now they've gone to women's football also. Now they're holding sway about how who all should get into the national team, right? And because I watch state leagues, I watch those teams, and trust me, I'm writing right now. I'm giving in writing right now. 5 years later, none of them, those guys will be playing football, right? But they've been called. It's a non-transparent selection again of India youth, right? And what happens when someone gets into India youth? They get a free pass to the senior team. It's a rollover. Even in the India under 19 that's going, a lot of them are rollovers from the previous youth teams. You're telling me everybody else is staying still? These girls are still the best of the best in the age group? First of all, are they in that age group? I'm openly questioning that. Are they even in that age group? Right? What happens with Chaoba's thing is that a lot more Krifsa people get selected, right? We all know they have a huge, let's be very honest, the state, I love the state, right? I worked in a development program in the state, but the state has a huge age documentation issue. Let me be very clear, right? So you're seeing more of those people coming in, and Manipur is no longer the powerhouse, right? No longer the powerhouse that they used to be, right, in women's football, right? But because you have BMM as chief selector, you have Chaoba Devi, you have a lot of regionalism, you're seeing more of this thing. Shaggy B, Abba and Maitri, screw all that. Kajol D'Souza did not get into the Indian under 19 team. What are you talking about? Like it's nuts.
yeah,
It's
so
nuts, and it's
just
shocking.
to just to add to what Orko just mentioned about rollovers, it's that is where a country's football stops growing, because you are literally keeping one set of players and giving them all the top opportunities. And that's the biggest problem, because people don't scout beyond it. The scouting here is so bad. People don't take effort to go in different states, watch the smallest of matches and pick the talent.
Yes.
You will find some talent or the other if you go in the football hubs and you watch the matches which are not important. Honestly, the matches which do not have a lot of result orientation in terms of how important they are, or whether it's a dead rubber or any of that sort, you go to those matches and see who is doing what. You will find the person that you want in your team, because the person who really cares about playing and who has the talent would be as enthusiastic in a dead rubber as she would be in a big match. You'll find these people if you scout for them. But if you keep taking one set of players again and again and keep selecting them, it makes them feel extremely secure and they don't work hard enough to keep their place. It's killing the competition. It's like it's not incentive enough for people who are playing in different states to think of making women's football their career. because it's not competitive. The same people keep being there, so it's just killing the overall competition, and that is the biggest problem that will plague, not today but in the coming years, because you won't have the pipeline that you want to have.
Truth bomb time. The AFF doesn't even have a database of all women players. It doesn't. Because when they were trying to figure out, when they were doing this whole exercise, remember, we want a footballer with so many international caps to be on the executive committee and all of that. They found out they didn't have data for half the players, right? They don't have a bloody database, right? That's the kind of incompetence we're dealing with, right? So selection literally happens like this, right? The club guy who's close to the there's it and it's there is no maker checker control. There's one guy, or before it was Alex Ambrose, right? And we all know how that panned out, right? It was Alex Ambrose who was the guy going to these clubs. Now we know what he was doing. Alex Ambrose going to these guys, going to the clubs, going to places, selecting people and putting them in the youth teams, right? Right? We'll end this topic here very shortly, but I just want to say this. Now we don't know who it is, right? We know Shauba's always had an in. We know that she's always had a direct line, right? We know that, um, and you can say, huh, but what benefit do they get? I'll tell you what benefit do they get. Indian women's football has a huge black transfer market. So anytime somebody makes to the national team, you can hike the player to a state league or an IWL team for, let's say, 1 lakh or 1.5 lakh, whatever, some X amount of rupees. Then these so-called coach turned agents turned whatever keep 40% or 50%. It's happening in Haryana. It's happening in Manipur. We've seen people from Nagaland do it in Delhi, like import full teams from Nagaland. Nobody speaks about this, right? Because it's an open secret. Right? But these are the problems plaguing the national team. Right? Shaggy is saying SFC not ready to release. Sulanjana Rahul, who's playing for East Bengal, is playing. Right? Is playing in the national team. Right? The question is, did you even call up? So the problem here lies is that there is laziness mixed with corruption at each level. Each level. I remember when the selection for under 17 was happening, we were literally told there's no scouts coming to the Delhi Premier League. And we told the state of it, like, how how the hell should our girls get selected then? He said, why don't you send a list? Laughable. He said, why don't you send a list with four of your best top girls, and we'll have the scouts take a look, right? The scout came for 1 day. He saw the game. He saw them dominate. He saw them impress. Then he said, I really like you guys, but you guys aren't tall enough. Which means you're looking for age frauds also. Which means just say it. You're looking for girls who are actually older than their age, right? So it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous all around. And I mean, it's a corrupt system, and it just keeps on going like this. Right? David has a question. We'll just take this before moving on to the other question to both Orko and Abreshmina. Now, when the girls are actually moving abroad, and league structure are more or less better than previous. Abreshmina, you want to take this?
Okay, so yes, there have been three, four of women who have played abroad. Um, that doesn't improve the grassroots structure. These are four players who have that bit of edge in their game, get selected, and are getting better for sure. These girls are getting that experience, and for sure they're hopefully they're becoming better footballers. But it doesn't improve the overall system. So when we talk about the pipeline, that's not improving because our grassroots coaches do not teach people the right way, and are not the best in terms of developing players. And I mean development, not in terms of putting them in teams and getting them to play. It's about developing, which is not happening. So obviously, your level of football is what you will see. It would probably decline or stay the same, as in stagnant. League structure being more or less better than previous years, I would agree to an extent, yes. But again, there needs to be a lot more consistency, and they'll have to keep at it. If they can keep at it, and also along with that improve the grassroots, then only we'll see some sort of result in the next 20 years maybe. It's always a long process. I don't think we are ever going to see results within 5 years. So, and that's been the problem with AFF as well. Even if they have tried to do something good, they've not stuck by it. And that I feel is the biggest problem, because you need to visualize things for about 10 to 20 years before you decide that this is not working out.
Yes. Now moving on from one situation to the next, right? Can we just talk about the IWL? Currently, three teams very close to each other. Odisha, Gokulam, Kickstart. Although I think Odisha has played a game less, but ahead in points. What do you make of the whole thing? Because there are some crazy results that are coming out, right?
Yeah, I think overall it's been competitive. I don't think any one team has been able to fully dominate. I do think Odisha and Gokulam still have the edge, Odisha especially. But yes, I do think it's been the top half, like your first 3 to 4 teams that you will see. They have been able to challenge each other, and that's because there's been movement of players. No one team is fully stacked. At one point in time, Gokulam, for example, was fully stacked. Now the division of players in terms of the top players that you have in the country, some top 30 players or whatever, they're divided better. So that is what you're seeing in terms of the results. But it is just the top 3 or 4 teams. Beyond that, if you'll see, it's largely stagnant and largely the same sort of game that you've been seeing in the previous years.
What do you make of? I think top scorer is Karishma, right? And an Indian player also top scorer.
Fantastic, fantastic talent. Karishma, do you remember watching teenage Karishma, Abby, and she was playing for Sirvodham, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. The team as such wasn't great, right? Their only one tactic was to give it to Karishma and let them score, right? But she was carrying the team on their back. She's so intelligent, and in front of goal, she just has a knack for it,
She is
right?
another player uh, who has been called up to the national team but has not been given enough chances to make a place for herself. And again, that's another failure of the system, because Karishma has always been a very smart player, and honestly we lack smart players, people who can be in positions and can make up
Exactly,
the game. We lack
exactly,
smart players,
exactly.
and Karishma has always been a very smart player.
You know,
But
which is the
again,
one
she's not
club,
got enough
which is the
chance.
one club that has consistently signed smart players over the last 4 seasons. It's not a mystery. It's not a mystery. It's the best club in the land, which has signed, which has signed players on basis on intelligence rather than their CV.
And in the meantime, Palestine has scored against Qatar. Just saying,
Hmm.
fantastic.
Yes, but we lack camps and we lack all of this.
Yeah.
I don't
Don't
know what.
don't switch our injury time to watch Palestine, please. I'm
Yeah.
just giving an update because I thought that was fairly significant.
We
But
need
anyway,
infrastructure, guys. We cannot do anything without that.
no, 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 no. Infrastructure programs and FIFA goal projects are all fundamental for development, and we'll focus on 20 people.
Huh.
That's what we are going to do.
Hmm.
But yes, moving on, there were some comments and stuff. I mean, I can't pick up the comments that's on Orco today.
Hmm.
I am very touched to see that JS has taken my recommendation and reading when Friday comes and enjoying
Hmm.
it. If you want more recommendation, please reach out to me on Twitter or something. I will give you
Hmm.
photographs and
So,
all sort of things
Roshan
for
ji
following.
asked why Neha, Pooja, and Razi are not.
Yeah, let
Razia,
me finish my thing. No, what is
yeah,
this?
no, I'm
Cutting.
going through the question. I thought you want me to read the questions,
Yeah, but I was
right?
just giving him like, okay,
Okay, go
fine.
on.
No,
Go
leave
on.
it.
Go on.
It's okay, leave it.
Yeah, so Razia is there in the squad, but because she's not from Haryana, she's obviously not being selected. Neha is playing. I think Neha played today, if I'm not mistaken, and Neha is also there in the under 17, under 19 camp. That's one player who we really need to do better with. Neha, we really need somebody needs to have a put a shoulder, hand over a shoulder and say, listen, you have what it takes. Abreshmina, I honestly think she has what it takes, but somebody needs to guide her. Then she needs an Anthony or somebody like that to really extract the best
I think
out
she
of her.
has the attributes. The only thing she needs is, like you mentioned, somebody to sit with her and explain her the tactical part of the game. If she develops her game understanding better, I think she'll be a much better player.
All right, right. Moving on. Kickstart bottled it today. Avik strategy is asking where do we go from here with all the corruption and nepotism? Where how do we feel hopeful for something for someone better to change things?
It will be when Orco takes over AIFF. That time, we will be the vocal opposition then also.
But I feel my Nayak turn is coming. Like my one day as CM, my if it comes, I promise you guys, I can't change anything in one day, but will expose everything there is to. Right? I feel hopeful because Satya's there. I honestly feel hopeful because Satya's there.
No, I feel there are some nice people trying to do
There's
a good
some,
job.
yeah, yeah.
It's just that sometimes it is just not possible because of circumstances, because of mismanagement of funds, because
Hmm,
of executive power is a different thing from suggesting, and technical committee will can suggest. Executive
hmm,
committee is execution. So
hmm,
sometimes there are some things that fall through the cracks, I guess you can say.
hmm,
But look, even a lot of the things that Shaji Prabhakaran in his tenure,
hmm,
or Kalyan as he is still the president, they have done are not bad things. They
hmm.
are the
Disbanding
idea
the
to have a,
arrows,
yeah,
disbanding the arrows was a very good step,
was a very good
right?
step. The idea to make a better IWL is a good step. The in
Promotion
execution maybe a
delegation.
little bit botched
Huh.
because of the money and all those. The
Hmm,
idea to have an institutional league is great, but then who's going to come for the institutional league is a question they never bothered to ask. That's a whole other question. And the idea not to have foreign players in the smaller, lower divisions, I League
hmm,
Two and stuff, all good decisions, but things that will take time to develop. But then the
The
major things are blowing up upfront. No, while
Yeah,
the bottom is improving, maybe the top is blowing up. So
the
sorry.
top is blowing up, and also the very bottom needs more work.
Hmm.
They are working. They're doing some good things in the middle. But again, I mean, I don't know how many times we've all harped on it, but if we don't really work on the grassroots and improve that bit, I mean, it's very difficult to find a solid place in a sport that is played in over 200 countries.
Absolutely, I agree.
hmm.
Yes, Sandeep to take Orko's role as a vocal critic, then 100% Darshan. The moment he becomes AIF president, I'm going to be cross questioning everything.
Then we just won't get these video fights of Sandeep and
Hmm,
Orko, but
Yeah,
there'll be a lot in the office, guys.
yeah.
hmm.
We,
Please,
I am not working in the
please
AIF.
watch for Rivka Ramji. We've been watching her. I think she needs more time with our youth, especially, right? Because we've seen so many youth come and disappear. I usually don't stick my, for example, Ruchi and Razia, right? I thought they'd be world beaters, but because they don't have an agent or they have like the likes of us pushing them and doing their PR all the time, they're not getting the chances, right? Razia went to Hops, right? Because she played really well. She was Delhi's best player at the senior nationals, right? And she was selected for Hops on that basis, right? But she's not getting playing for Hops because like she doesn't fit their playing style. The The coach told her, and if the coach told me this, even I'd be like, WTF? The coach told her just go to the byline and cross. The coach is giving instructions from the 80s, right? And no intelligent player, no self-respecting player will respect the coach after that, right? Because you're not developing under such a player. So
And that's
I mean,
honestly very contrary to what we keep telling her, that she needs to stop sticking to the byline and try and cut in and try and move in and go
the
near to the
traditional
goal
winger
so
is
that
dead.
she can get
But
something.
yeah, but the traditional winger is dead, right?
I just will never accept it because I love the
Hmm.
position of a traditional winger.
Hmm.
I grew up playing that position also.
Will
So
Chaoba remain the head coach of Indian team? Look, with Indian coaches, they always get a short leash, right? Turkish Gold Cup is happening. Let's see what happens, right? Like Abreshmina and I've said, the same 40 players are rolling over for God knows how long, right? They're still there. Let's see what happens in Turkish Gold Cup. We know what happened last time also. A chain of bad results and she's done, right? So and then maybe they'll put Priya PV as the head coach and they'll put Chauba as the coach of the under 20 team. I mean, what else can you expect, right? I mean, until unless somebody is going there hunting for these so for these women coaches, I understand you want that. Also is something I'm not agreeing with it. I'm not agreeing that only a woman can be a coach of a women's team, right? Because the winner of the last two editions of the IWL being led by a man. So we just need, man or woman, gender aside, we need somebody who cares enough to develop them, who takes it as his daily job to improve them, right? And not somebody who is just looking at this as some power trip, which is exactly what I fear will happen this time. Let's see, right?
yeah. So now before we delve into other things,
Hmm.
I don't know only Satya is the right word, but Satya being there is only good.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Okay.
let's just talk about this, right? Ah, exactly. That was the one. He goes to match's future. So Shaji Prabhakaran, and I
Hmm.
got the message also. I
Hmm.
did message asking that he be allowed to attend the meeting
Hmm.
because he needed to clear the air and say some stuff to everybody. But
Hmm.
unfortunately, as we have learned now that he's not been allowed to do so. What is crazy now is he can again go to the court.
Huh.
Right. Again, you didn't follow procedure. This is like one of those Tom and Jerry thing. No, you hit and then the guy takes a hand, and then you hit again. The guy takes. It's the same thing. 'Cause follow procedure, whatever is the procedure. I'm not the most. I don't know the exact administrative policy there, but that is something that we have to see in what will happen tomorrow. As far as the match's future, I now feel like there is a lot of pressure on AFF.
Hmm.
The world is the Indian football team has. I mean, the fans have turned very hard against the coach, very hard against AFF as well
Hmm.
since the since the Asian Cup, which I didn't expect such a strong turn, to be honest. But I don't know what triggered it, but it has happened. What did you guys think?
Also just take the I mean, just take a look at the Asian Cup, man. There are 23 teams which played with intent, right?
I
Like
mean,
you
I
can
think
look
that
at,
is disrespectful to our players to say they didn't play with
I
intent.
sorry, when you're 1-0 down against Syria, the 75th minute, you know you need the 3 points to get through. Okay, fine. Let's not call it intent. Maybe that was the extent of their abilities, right? And being Indian football folks for a long time, we know that this is probably what we expected, Sandeep. Let's be very honest.
Yeah, we discussed this. I only said I want them to play hard. That's the
Yeah,
only
but
thing that
but
I
they didn't
mentioned.
even do that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We didn't see those things
This
that we
I'll
wanted.
say this. Okay,
Huh.
from a defensive standpoint, I thought against Australia we did really well, as much
Uh,
as we could. Right,
hmm,
the idea that we can go there and try and attack on counter and all is
hmm,
good on paper, but realistically, that is a very difficult situation.
hmm,
The performance against Turkmenistan was bad. I think
hmm.
the early goal had a lot to do with that. You know, once that goal went in, that was all everybody's ruffled. Against Syria, they played much better, but I again think that is the extent of our best possible situation. I
Did
mean,
they
this.
did they create a clear chance on goal?
No, that's the thing, right? I thought Lord, I mean,
Not
Sunil
one.
Chhetri,
Not one.
went,
In the
no, no,
300 minutes of football, 270 plus added
correct,
time.
correct.
Not one. Not
No,
one.
they
Not
hit
a
the bar.
single
Rahul
one.
KP hit the bar.
Fine.
There were a
Rahul
couple of
KP.
headers that went nearby. Sunil had a couple of headers. So those were, but that's the extent. Like I thought, Sunil played in a hole behind Mandir in the Syria game, if I remember
Hmm.
right.
But we are having to clutch at straws to
Yeah,
even
yeah, that's.
remember
But
that
that's the
this is
reality of Indian football also. I mean, I just wanted all I wanted was a strong defensive performance because I really like a well drilled team fighting for
the
their life types. It didn't really come across that way.
it didn't it
Yeah,
didn't
Personally, I just felt that the first match against Australia, we put in a lot of effort. And I don't know why I felt that mentally drained everybody. They just could not put the same amount of effort and zeal and energy into the next two matches. That's what I felt. And obviously, an early goal in the second match killed that.
it killed the game.
Yeah, yeah, it really did hamper with whatever energy that they would have gone in with. But yeah, I mean, I just felt that Australia, the entire effort got, and after they put, and then it just got too much for them, which is
I
also
will
something that they'll really have to work on, because obviously in
absolutely,
such,
yeah.
yeah, in such cases, I mean, obviously you everybody knew that against Australia it's going to be a massive, massive, massive task, right? So you can't be bogged down by the fact that you worked hard and but you still lost the match, because you were anyway expected to lose the match. You should have taken that energy that we worked very hard and we did this well against Australia, and hence we can do more against other teams. So I think that is where it flipped, and that's something that in terms of the mental game that they'll have to work on.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. A lot of people are saying, oh, Uzbekistan, not Turkmenistan, correct, Kumar, you're right. A lot of people saying we don't have a proven goal scorer. That is true. I think Sunil did not have a great tournament at all. Uh, was very rarely involved, even like though we didn't have too many chances also. But and there is also this. How do you say? When you are chasing the right change is very important, right? When you look at the bench, there are names. First of all, a lot of them playing first
no.
time Asian Cup. 1 minute. First time, 1 minute. The first
Hmm.
time Asian Cup, they are bound to be completely a little bit in awe. So I'll give them that benefit little bit. Secondly, whenever you wanted a change, I don't think the change came. It was a right change for you're chasing a game and you don't bring the most X factor player. Little and anyway, at that time, what did you have to lose? Lose 1-0, lose 3-0. It doesn't make any difference. He could have just gone for it. Things over there, which are very bad decisions, I guess. I thought
Yeah, and that,
I remember saying in the second game that I would love it if Sahal got some minutes, but I saw him play. He was not ready. He did not need to play him. He was not ready. He was gasping for breath after the first two sprints that he did, and he lost the ball quite a few times when he came on itself. He was not sharp enough, and he's been coming out of injury. Of course, he's not sharp enough. Why not play another player who was sharp? So there were these kind of
I still
decisions which
don't
I thought was
understand why
little
Brandon did not get a look. I mean,
absolutely,
like you mentioned, I mean, there was nothing to lose, right? Just go
yeah.
all out. Bring in the player who can bring that creativity and at least try for something. Exactly. I do completely agree with what you mentioned in terms of the subs, Sandeep, because I think that's something that we discussed in the first match as well. That they came way too late in the game.
So I want to say this, right? We are talking about Stimatch, right? I get everything. Stimatch couldn't have done more. This is the extent. All of it
I didn't
granted.
say that. Huh?
No, I'm saying all of it granted, right?
Uh-huh.
This is the reality of Indian football, right? This is, I tweeted when Trevor Sinclair was hired saying, miracle worker Trevor Sinclair joins the setup. I said, it'll be a miracle if we end up with a GD of less than -5. And it was prophetic. We ended up with a GD of -6, right? Which I still think was actually better than what I expected. Let me be very honest, right? We look at Indonesia losing 4-0 and we were like, we throw shit on Indonesia. But
Yeah, but that
Indonesia,
was a very stupid take from one person on Twitter.
no, I get it. That I'm not fixated on one person. I'm saying we had the 2-0 result against Australia because we sat back. We sat back. We did not play football to score. We played football to limit the scoreline. So by that aspect, 2-0 is okay, right? And what I saw the Asian Cup is that when I talk about intent, I watched all 23 teams. There was an intent to try and get the ball into the goal. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it was a player's fault, it was a coach's fault. I'm not scapegoating. I'm just talking about what is our vision for football. Does anybody know? What is our philosophy of football? Does anybody know? Right? That's number one. What is Timach's vision of football? Nobody knows. Number one. Number two, when you look at when we always keep saying Manolo Ferrando. Why are these two highly rated? Because they improve players, right? They've improved players. Now, apart from the ones who are already improving under like a Des Buckingham at Mumbai City or a Manolo at HFC and now Goa, how many people has players has Timach improved?
But Stimats is a national team coach, man. You can't compare them. It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
It's not
he's a
fair.
national team coach. He
Correct,
It's
doesn't
not
correct,
get
fair.
correct.
that much time
Correct,
also.
correct. But 15 matches, if the team is playing 15 matches in a year, that's a significant amount of camp time. Remember, Stimatch in India love having long camps. They are locked in camps, right? It's not like they spend a short amount of time in camps. I'm just raising questions. I'm not saying I'm necessarily right or wrong. I'm just raising questions, right? We get it. We get this is a reality of Indian football. We get that this is what was expected. But still ask, there's a question to be asked. Is Igor Stimac the best person to lead India at this point of time? Right? Even the quotes that came out before the tournament saying our main focus is the World Cup qualifiers. We are always shifting the goalposts. Is the
This one
Asian
I agree. That the
is the
shifting
Asian Cup
goalposts, I
not
agree.
our World Cup? Is the Asian Cup not our largest tournament? Now it's just come and gone, right? While we're watching these 16 teams, and my God, what a fantastic tournament it's been, right? But the only
It's
team
been
that
it's been pretty crazy also, yeah.
the only
Some
Qatar has
interesting
exactly
equalized
results.
also,
exactly
by the way.
the only team that didn't get my adrenaline pumping, and I'm so sorry and so heartbroken to say this, is Team India, right? And people shat on Vietnam. Oh, Vietnam going home early. They took the game to
They
Japan.
and scored against Japan, no? Japan
They're
had a
taking
mind.
the game to the opposition, boss. They also have injuries. You don't see them coming out and saying injuries, injuries. You don't come out and say that. But the thing is, we have the list of excuses ready. We've always had it ready. It talks to me about a very losing mentality that we had all of this ready, that we expected. We did not expect that we'd be competitive, right? And listen, there are teams pulling upsets all over the place. Don't tell me rankings bollocks, right? You saw Tajikistan do it yesterday, right? You saw Jordan taking the game, right? Jordan won against Iraq, right? A team
Yeah.
that's played the World
But
Cup.
the red card and all came, there was
Huh?
controversy and all that shit. Yeah.
Or
So
everything
there
they
is
argued,
always a reality of the 90 minutes also where some things happen which
correct?
cannot be controlled.
But what are the
Did you think
realities?
Jordan played better than Iran?
No,
Ah.
no. What is the reality of our 90 minutes? What is the reality of our 300 minutes? Apart from, let's say, 5 minutes, can we say we took the game to the opposition? Even when we were 1-0 down, we were trying to do damage control. In the last game, I lost my head. We were 1-0 down, 75th minute. There was no sense of urgency. And maybe it's not down to the boys. Maybe they were all spent. Maybe they're all done and dusted by that time. Right? And we spoke about the Danny Deegan and the fitness wala thing in our last pod also. Right? But Sandeep, tell me, when we were 1-0 down and you watched the game against Syria, did
We
you
just
feel like
mentioned the same thing that when we were down, why didn't we throw the kitchen sink? Both Abby and I just mentioned this 10
yeah.
minutes ago.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying does it, who is responsible for this? Who's
So
responsible for
it
this?
is Stimatch is responsible for it. I am not going to
Yes.
say that defend any coach or any of these things. At the end of the
Hmm.
day, you live and die by your results, and your results have been poor. But I will blame AIFF for extending a contract, which now you have to. I suppose there is, if there is any performance based thing, okay, fine. If there is no, then you'll have to pay out a significant chunk of that contract also. At a time
Hmm.
when AIFF really does not have money to throw around.
Hmm.
So I
And
will
yeah,
raise a question.
hmm,
If this was the case, then Constantine's contract should have been extended before he went to Asia Cup.
Hmm.
If we are going to go by somebody who has got us into the Asian Cup and all that, it
Hmm.
should be done. I mean, a lot of people are going. I mean,
Hmm.
saying Stimats is not a galvanizing presence and everything.
Hmm.
I don't know exactly what sort of person he is, but I do feel there is a little bit of
Hmm.
indiscipline on the touchline, which I don't like. The number of
Hmm.
yellow cards and the red cards and stuff that you get, which will go into the players. Also. They see this and
It,
they'll get into the player, that indiscipline.
yeah,
I
it
don't like that at
it
all.
seeps into the team. It
Yeah,
seeps
I
into
don't
the
like that
team.
at all.
Do even the courts, look, like I
excuses, the excuses.
the excuses. Look, Constantine was a man that did not care. He was like, hate me for all, I don't care, right? I will come out and it's this thing. Here we went from a strict disciplinarian, and listen, Sandeep, it's not
No,
a.
let me finish one more thing because Shaggy is raising some points about
Hmm.
we are not being smart and everything, and I
Hmm.
agree with him.
Hmm.
Indian football fans believed him. Now
Hmm.
they are against him because of the results. So you're saying,
Hmm.
and that's true. And here's the thing: you believed social media, the Indian football fans, not the obviously the ones who listen to us, who
Hmm.
are always looking at Indian football and stuff. Everybody else believed it. I spoke to a player who plays, and he was saying everybody is believing the whole hype. You break it down. Constantine had a team which was a very very limited team. You look
Hmm.
at the team that Stimach has in his disposal.
Hmm.
Technically, you have a lot more better players,
Hmm.
you have a lot more talented players. Let's say it's a very bad way of putting it, but you have players who have a lot more technique and who are playing at an intensity that is higher. Who are players who have played in the AFC Champions League for 2 3 years now.
Hmm.
So you had a level of players who are higher than what Constantine had,
Hmm.
but the performance did not reflect on it. You Constantine might have sat back. He might have sat back against every team, but he got results when he had to get results.
Hmm.
We with this team, you didn't finish where you should be in the qualifiers. You had to go into the group, the other three, four team wala group thing to qualify, and you qualified again. And then after that, again you play the group again. Now everybody thinks you are going to go into the third round of World Cup qualifiers. I don't know why it's like a uh, people just assume that we can go there. They're making promises and all like it's going to happen.
Hmm.
2 games against Afghanistan.
You still,
We have
huh?
to beat them. We haven't beaten them last time also. We have to
Hmm.
beat two them. Then we have to get a point against Kuwait also, just to be sure. And they are not pushovers. None of these teams are pushovers.
Our last two matches against Afghanistan have ended in draws.
Yeah.
Exactly. And honestly, I don't think, uh, I think our administration is not ready to accept the pace at which the Asian countries are growing. I think they're just not
Yeah.
accepting it
Now they can't. They
because
can't not. Like you
everyone's
have
running
Lebanon.
far up ahead of us.
Now they can't not see what is happening because you have Syria who beat India, and you saw the emotion that was coming out of that reporter.
Crazy.
The
The
reporter.
translator. The translator.
Iraq,
No, the
Iraq beat
translator at least is with the team,
Japan,
but the reporter
bhai.
is covering. He is crying.
He's
See
crying.
the emotion that comes from him because he knows what it means to his team. You have Iraq doing well.
Iraq
You have
beat Japan, yaar. Iraq
yeah,
beat Japan. I mean, it
you
was
have
insane.
Palestine.
Nobody could have imagined it.
Huh.
Palestine right now doing really there in the knockout. So you
Yeah,
now there's no excuse. You saw
and
Vietnam.
Sandeep,
People will say, "Oh, Vietnam didn't qualify or whatever," but Vietnam took the game to Japan, and not
and
many
Sandeep,
teams can take the game to Japan.
you're talking about the reality of the 90 minutes, right?
Huh? No, no. But the
And
thing is, now they can't say we don't know because it's there
hold on,
in front of you
hold on.
at the
I
biggest stage.
agree. I agree. Jordan were lucky, right? Maybe Jordan were lucky to beat Iraq, but
No,
I
I am okay because they made their luck. You
yes,
have to make your luck
yes.
also.
This is what want to say. Luck is not a coincidental factor, right? And I love Blue Lock because it explains this so well. You have to be there at that point of time, at that exact moment, in that spot, to assume that luck, to take that piece of luck and to convert it. That's the beauty of football, right? Because you can have all sort of permutation on paper, you can have everything, right? Did we put ourselves in that spot to grab that piece of luck? We did not. We were never in the running, right?
No.
So yeah.
But it is what it is. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Mm,
I I am really not hopeful of any major thing coming out tomorrow,
mm,
as in terms of the coach per se.
mm,
But
mm.
yeah, after
And Harshavardhan makes a very valid point. Grassroots development includes only boys. 99% of CSR goes to boys. We know this for a fact. Girls get like an afterthought, right? They're not very this thing. The build up, Shaggy makes an excellent point, and we spoke about this, Sandeep. The
yeah,
build
yeah,
up, and you
agreeing.
agreed also.
But
Build up to
this
this goal,
this one I will put the blame a lot of it on Stimach because he is
and
the one
AF.
who made a lot of these noises.
Huh.
And AIFF before, right? In the whole, so AIFF mucked up everything,
Huh.
in my opinion, because the Asian Games was an absolute fiasco.
Hmm.
What all you did to try and get the team up there is
Hmm.
unbelievable.
Hmm.
It was not part of the plans. They got carried away after the
Hmm.
SAF Cup.
Hmm.
This is the problem with India constantly winning SAF Cup. We think we've achieved something great. I remember
Exactly. I don't know why we place so much importance on Safka. I
because
mean,
that's the
get
only thing
over
you
it,
win now.
guys.
That's our level. This is our level. Look, whether you can hate me, you can love me. That's our level. We played
I
four.
agree. I
We,
agree. That
we
is
played
our
four
level.
four games against SAF nations in the last World Cup qualifiers. Right? How many did we win? One. That's it.
This is
And that is
the
what I'm saying. I agree that SAF is our level. I do not disagree with that. But my point is, how can you become a better team if you don't aim for higher? If you take SAF Cup so dear to your heart all the damn time, you are never going to improve because you see SAF as the benchmark. SAF cannot be the benchmark. It is where you already are. Your benchmark is always supposed to be higher.
There was a whole talk about Kafa, right? India joining Kafa and all. Kafa said we are open to it also,
Huh?
and we never really took it because you go there, then you have to really work.
You get your ass handed to.
It's
Yeah.
really, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like a player would, most players would be
Would love
loving the
it.
challenge.
Would
Yeah,
love it. But it doesn't
But
look good
yeah,
administratively,
but
right?
they will love it because they play against tougher opposition, and that's a challenge that if
And
you are a player who just
and
want
that
to.
doesn't look good administratively is also why before a lot of the time we should be playing the friendlies just before a major tournament, we don't, right? So I mean, we could have done anything. We could have Kuwait were not in the Asian Cup, and we spoke because they've been banned and they're coming back. We could have aramse, we could have arranged. I'm saying we sitting here is we make it sound easy, right? I'm not saying administration is easy, but get the basics right, guys. It's not that tough to do a background check on a coach or try and get. There are 210 teams, right? I'm not saying everybody's open for a friendly, but it's everybody's doing it, and this it's not very this thing. And Roshan GK speaking about Peter Sagat, what a great ambassador for the tournament he's been. Like you could see the emotion when they what they achieved yesterday, right? They defeated UAE, right? It was nuts, right? Don't confuse club coach and national coach. Agree. I'm just saying we need somebody now who's focused on developing the players. What happening in Hyderabad FC chaos? Sandeep, you want to take this because I also have some insight on
Yeah,
this.
so Hyderabad FC chaos is reigning, but Nim Dorji, Hitesh, Sana, Nikhil, all of them have been given temporary NOC by Player Status Committee, or will be given. You probably hear it by tomorrow or something, and I think they will be able to move. So we already know that Bengaluru FC is interested in Sana, and there are obviously talks with the other players also. I would think. So I'm assuming in the next couple of days before the window breaks, some of them, at least few of them, are likely to move. So this is the update that I got. In terms of ownership, I don't think there has been any change.
And
Is it the one that you also have?
I had an update saying they had temporary staff for the Super
Temporary.
Cup. Temporary staff for Super Cup.
Hmm.
They can't pay their permanent staff. I'm not sure how they're going to pay
They
their.
came out and put the status out and requested for money and all, right? Like all of
Ha,
them signed a
ha.
petition and everything.
Um,
This is really bad, man. These guys can't even go to a CAS. Like a player can go to
no,
a
so
CAS.
staff. I spoke to some of the staff. Staff can't go to FSDL. Staff can't go to AIFF. Staff are on their own. Staff are essentially on their own. Staff really don't want to take legal recourse, but I don't know. And here's the shocking thing, right? I'm hearing there's an investor. Investors agree to put in the money. Investors agreed to wipe off the debt. Uh, it's it's who's going to be in power. That is the
But that has
concern.
been the long problem, right? Whenever
Problem.
other
Yeah,
people have come through, it's been like I want to,
yeah,
or people want to hold on to power, and
power.
that,
Yeah,
that club is in shambles, man.
yeah.
We
And
can't.
David, we spoke about it. It's all the
You know,
match.
we have friends right there.
Yeah.
We have friends working there,
We
and
have friends who quit the club. We have
we have friends
Shlomo
here with the club as
with
well.
the club. Yeah. So yeah, David, we spoke about Danny Deegan, who's with Mumbai City, worked wonders last time around, and they looked super fit. Ashik, for example, didn't even play this. Did yes? We'll probably have to pay a large amount of the compensation when mutual
You
termination
mentioned this as
happens.
well.
Yeah, when mutual
There
termination
is no mutual termination here. Like,
termination.
why
Yeah,
would
I
I
know.
walk
I'm
away
saying
from this
when there's a
contract?
sacking, sometimes it's mentioned in the contract saying you will get 2 months wages or 3 months wages or 6 months. Sometimes it's just mutually agreed upon the amount of compensation. But yes, it's a lot of money, right? In terms of how do I say it? If Stimatch is currently on 2 GS, where GS is a unit of money related to the AIFF, right? And everybody knows what I'm referring to. If Stimatch is currently on 2 GS, India probably will have to at least cough up 1 GS or maybe like 0.8 GS, right? GS, uh, जो समझदार है, people will understand. People who know me will understand what is the amount of currency I'm referring to. One GS, one. But yeah, go on. Sandeep, this thing was he's Shaggy Mirka saying we are not smart.
No, we saw all this.
Yeah,
You're going
yeah,
back in the
yes,
Sunday
yes.
mentioned
If
all
our
this.
lineup of matches was different, would the results be same? Maybe, maybe not. But it's not. This is the point we're making. It's not just a lineup issue. It's probably a larger systemic issue. That's at fault here, right? Go on. Did we progress? Yes. Did we progress enough considering enough other nations? No, of course. That's
Good
that's
point.
exactly
That's a
the
point.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly true. We are slow.
slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, we should not think
That
that
is
the
good again.
Afghani players carry the shit show from the federation of field. Yeah, we should not assume that. We should not assume that the strike will last also.
Ashley Westwood is actually building a good team from everything that I've heard,
Yeah,
even with the strike and whatever going on.
yeah.
So,
If
and look, Ashley is going to come here with absolute 100% motivation. If I was the federation, I would put that match in Bangalore, knowing
mm,
full well that there'll be a full crowd.
mm.
And just to get a show from the match, you put that match in Bangalore.
You just want to watch the match.
No,
I
no,
booked my tickets to Guwahati. No, I booked my tickets to Guwahati. Don't say all of this. I'm watching the match in Guwahati only now.
or
I'm not canning my tickets now, right? So,
I'm
but
just saying, if you were smart and wanted
uh,
to do this, that's the way to do it. And
no
Ashley
home.
is going to come here. No, knowing Ashley, he is going to come here to ruin the party.
Yeah.
That's him.
Mm.
So there's no way that's a walkover. Even if it's all 20 young players,
Uh,
it's not a walkover.
uh, uh. Okay. The Waves corrects me saying, yeah, World Cup qualifiers, we do 2 matches. Last game against Afghanistan, we won. Yes, sorry. But the
Did we
matches,
win?
I think he's talking about the SAF championship, I think.
Saf didn't play, no?
They didn't play Afghanistan. I'm trying to remember. But the thing is, when it mattered, we did not. Right? Uh, yes, the thing is, Stephen was a no nonsense guy. He knew our limitations. He did not he did not try to
It was
make us
Saf.
something
Sorry.
we were not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was Saf. Yeah.
yeah. He did not try and put a ribbon on a donkey and say this is a horse. He did not do that. Right? Yeah. Go on. As they say, tap in merchant is not abuse. It doesn't mean striker is lucky if it shows he's smart to be in that position. Absolutely. I think that's the point we are making, right? You make your own luck in this game. And that's why we love this game. Because you make your luck. You don't go in thinking
So
we've lost one point.
any sport, you
Any
make your
sport, yeah.
yeah.
Neeraj Chopra, for example, right? Neeraj, after, and I spoke to him immediately after that gold medal, I said, what were you thinking? He said, because it's so hot, and because usually javelin throwers leave the largest throw for the last bit of it, I thought I'd be sapped by the time I get to the last throws. So I threw the big ones first. He made his own luck, and we got only our second individual gold medal in history. Right. So lot to learn from that man.
Can we
Right.
talk about East Bengal? I can't
Yeah.
believe it took so long to talk about a club that has finally won a trophy after 12 years.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah. Go on.
Carles is a god there now. I was told by a East Bengal fan today that he is a god.
Yeah.
I mean, two
Hmm.
finals, one
Hmm.
title.
Hmm.
The match is okay, okay. I mean, I thought both penalties were a little very soft, not little, quite soft. But sort of cut it equally or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But
No, I
yeah,
mean,
I really enjoyed
It
the
just
final. It was
means a
fairly
huge
open final.
deal, no? It just means a lot. I
It
think,
means a lot.
yeah.
And I'm not an East Bengal fan, but I'm really
hmm.
happy for East Bengal fans that they have managed to get a title. I like Carles, as you all know. I'm very
Hmm.
happy for him also to have won the title. Him, Dimas, as well. So very happy for all of them.
Hmm.
But yeah, I just wanted to say, I mean, come on, people.
Yeah. To the waves, it does seem, yes, it does seem like there might be a mid-season change, right? For my money's worth, he's a great character. I know he's a bit of a hothead on the field, but Roston Griffiths is a great character. Harsha Bardhan, I think, is somebody who's in the system, and yeah, I mean, sure. Like, I've heard of uh, this, not just you. I've heard of baby leagues not allowing entries to girls because saying, oh, they're not enough, or it's not a level playing field. So I mean, I can only laugh at the mindset. I can only do that, right? Deduction of points, bro. This is not the Premier League, so
What does it
let's,
matter if they deduct points also?
yeah, relegation. There's no relegation. Can't the staff go to court? They can, but the thing is, Roshan JK, they don't want to legal recourse. The thing is, the system and the clubs and everybody are very vindictive. You may not get a job after that. You might get a reprimand, and others might be afraid of getting somebody who's you know who's gone to court. I league two predictions. My favorite
I
club
saw
last.
FCBU's been playing
Yeah.
quite well. I can't believe they're they actually managed to beat Dempo.
Hmm.
Because I thought FCBU team were not really well put together, right? Because I saw them in the Super Division, but they've changed obviously. So yeah. But guys, if you are really interested in Indian football, watch the I League 2 and watch I League. Your best stories are going to come from these leagues. 10 years, 11 years we have been doing this. Our best
Yeah.
stories have always come from I League and lower levels.
Yeah.
Yes.
ISL, you might find one. I'm not saying there are no stories, but
Hmm.
because there is, and it's easier to get access here and everything, it's
Hmm.
amazing. These local football tournaments are where things happen. So just keep an eye on for
Yeah.
players or
Yeah.
coaches or
No,
stories.
and also I League Two has the best stories. It's not a crapshoot anymore. It's a proper league. There are
It's
14
a good
matches
league,
out,
yeah.
home
Good
and
level
away.
matches also.
Yeah, and also why I love the I League and I League Two is because of the unpredictability. Anything can happen, right? It's always leaves you on tenterhooks. It takes you to far flung locales. It's not in based in cities, so Any thoughts on I League Two after two game
But
weeks?
I still
Personally,
think that table only, two teams have played, but I still
uh,
would bank on Dempo and Sporting.
yeah. Maulik saying no, I was just making a joke. Maulik Nair, I can say it. Stay match is on more. It's on two or more. Last I checked, right? Yeah. I think what decisions to expect from AFM? We spoke about it. I think the Shaji Prabhakaran bit is up for this thing, and Stimatch. I am hearing there are some deliberations, but we can't be absolutely sure. But if that's the news a lot of fans want to hear, there are discussions ongoing. It's not like he's not on stable ground, but I agree with a lot of what's been said. Pulling the plug just before the World Cup qualifiers is probably not the smartest.
But
Uh,
nobody accused AFF to being the smartest also. So let's not.
but yeah, the ISL's back, guys. What do we expect?
I expect FC Goa to just canter on like they've always done. That's.
FC Goa. Two things happened which may derail their season.
But they're getting a replacement for the.
They are getting a replacement, but Victor Rodriguez was super influential.
Yeah, but
Victor
they're
Rodriguez was,
getting
and
foreigner and they got
and
this fellow. Um,
Yasser,
Yasir, yeah.
Yasser. Jhingan's injury
Oh,
is
I
a
forgot that. Yeah, yeah. What is the scene with him? Do you know how long?
thing. Uh, he might even miss the World Cup qualifiers, from what I hear. It
Hmm.
and man, like FC Goa have to be cursing their luck because this 1 year they look like they're on course for a title, but and somebody a neutral who's also an FC Goa fan said maybe if FC Goa stopped being this tragic, maybe people would stop following them. It's it just football tragic because the most consistent team in the ISL has never won an ISL title. They won an ISL Shield, but they've never won an ISL title, and that too, they were denied a lot of reasons. Like 1 year, Jahu's brain fade. The other year, they took Loberas Mumbai to the cleaners, Juan Ferrando, right? But just couldn't get it over the line. It's I don't know, like how. And Harshavardhan says
But
bottle Indian gunners, but
I also want to see what Kerala Blasters are going to do. They have some injuries now. They seem to
Luna,
have replaced
Luna,
players.
big miss, big
Yeah, but
miss.
they have
Luna,
replaced players also, and we need to
yes.
know if they can get the right momentum going
Mm,
again.
mm,
Uh, th- so
mm,
I'm intrigued to see them as well. There are
mm,
only few teams that I'm intrigued about. I want to see what Mohan Bagan is going to do. I mean,
mm,
I think Mohan Bagan pulled a plug way too early in this, but we knew this was coming. The moment Habas was there, you
mm.
knew this was only a matter of eventuality. You knew. You knew. I mean, there is a reason why these things can happen, and I
Huh.
feel very bad for Juan Fernando.
Mm,
He got you two titles in a year and change.
mm.
I mean, that's ridiculous to sack a coach while they're not even playing that badly. So, yeah, I want to see what they're
The
going to do.
football as an industry is a game of short termism, right? And nothing screams more short termism than this. Also, imagine you went to a corporate, a guy left the job and you were given his job, and then the other day, the next day, they say, oh, the guy who left your job is now your boss, and he's always on standby. So should you get sacked for some reason, we're going to get that guy to replace you. And imagine that sword hanging over your head. That is exactly what's happened at Bagan.
Maybe.
And I feel really bad for the senior because I
Absolutely.
mean a lot of Bagan fans spoke out against him,
But
but
now they are all saying, why did you sack him? There are a lot of them saying the same. Why did you sack him?
you don't miss what is there until it's gone. The grass is always greener on the other side. See, for people who are knee deep in Indian football, they know the quality of Senior Ferrando. Like everybody knows, right? And also, guys, Bagan fans, I just have to tell you, when a coach isn't allowed to make his own team, what can you expect? You're handcuffing the coach. What can you expect from him? But apart from, like, he's only been able to fulfill a part of his vision, because those are not his players, right? Those are not necessarily the people he wanted. So it's a clusterfuck. That's all I can say.
But yeah, they spend so much money that they can't not finish top six also, which they
Yeah,
will. I think they will finish.
yeah. Don't say this, man. It's just tragic. It's the 10th season of the ISL. They deserve this, not just for this season, but for being like super consistent, man. Like, they just, like, Goa are getting into the top four because of their strong first half showing. But I feel like Odisha are now in the driving seat, because
Yeah,
Kerala and Goa both have significant injuries. Mumbai bowling
but
with good
Odisha,
players.
can they bounce back from
Um,
this loss? There is that question
uh,
also. Right? They
uh,
have to look into that
yeah.
also. Which
Now, to
this is
the
the
waves, I
second
want
final
to.
they reached.
Yeah, to the
And
waves, I want.
against East Bengal, okay, I have
Yeah.
seen Rohan troll East Bengal for on Twitter for so long, and they're
Mm.
sort of neighbors. I guess there's some sort of rivalry also over there, which I think didn't somebody call it Rasgulla rivalry and all, which I thought was very disrespectful.
Yes, because no,
So,
that's because Odisha claimed to have
sure, I mean
invented the
fine, but don't
the
disrespect
Rasool.
the rivalry.
To,
Now. Like,
to
come
the
on.
waves, I want to say that one's a 21-year-old who's doing who's doing his business, and the other is clearly not his age and carries a boatload of attitude. So, like, make of that what you will. And yeah, Mumbai, I also want to point out Silington Lord Gem. Look out for that boy. I've known that boy for a long time, right? Coach is getting imagine what happens, relegation kicks in. Yeah, yeah. You'll have ten teams hiring a total of 30 coaches throughout the season. Three coaches on an average every team, right? Yeah, we'll close almost. We need clubs. Yes, we do. Exactly, very true. It's, yeah. Fernando was said to be too good for IFT that MB sacked him, right? Yeah,
He's actually too good. If not for that eye infection, he would never have been here.
yeah. Fernando suffered an eye infection after
Yes.
taking a Greek third division club to the
In the
first
first place,
division,
back to back.
and not with a lot of with deep pockets. By the way, it's
You
this.
can
and
check the story in my article about
and
Fernando
and,
in
and by the
article.
way, Fernando's Goa in the ACL.
Yep.
What a team! Forget the results. I know
Without the
Mumbai.
striker, they played with Devendra Majgaonkar up front.
Nishant
Exactly.
Pandita.
One match,
Nishant
then they played with
Pandita played
Devendra
striker.
Majgaonkar after.
Huh.
They
And they
held
played,
their ground against some of the biggest
They
teams, man.
played
they played
Persepolis,
Persepolis,
which
Yeah.
had the intensity of a
Alba
Europa League team.
also, right?
Which had the intensity of a Europa League team. They played bloody Persepolis, man.
And Al Rayyan and Al one more. Forgot the third.
People people do not give people enough credit, man. People do not give that man enough credit. Lobera coming with everything now. Let's see. Do not count Don Manolo and Don Ivan out yet. Just yet.
No, I
Just
think
yet.
those two are the number one and two. Those two teams.
Uh, take care. Okay. I
Mumbai
think,
clear. Mumbai,
yeah.
I have my fears with Mumbai. I think they are going to take some
But
time to
but
settle
but
down.
I think Kratky started really well. I think
Yeah,
Kratky is a
but now they
fantastic
have
player.
player changes and turnovers, and then this break, and they played with six foreigners, and now they go back to four foreigners. It's
Uh,
going to be a
yeah,
adjustment
but
period.
the way this Persepolis is different. Also, the bans and everything from the teams from ACL, it's hit them. ISL clubs on their way to become Mohammedan SC after pro relegation. It might be the other way around. Mohammedan might be the third Calcutta club to bring glory to the city, and if they're 7 points clear.
Hmm.
And I think Sandeep, they are favorites right now. Let's just end with the predictions for the I League and ISL, IWL and I League too. Quickly, I'll take Sandeep's, then I'll take Abreshmina's, then I'll take
IWL Odisha. I can't
Odisha.
see
Yeah,
them
Odisha.
losing.
Odisha, yeah.
I would like Kickstart to win just because I'm in Bangalore, but it's not likely. But
Huh.
you know, who else is I League? Srinidhi maybe, but Mohammedan looks to have the better chance. But Srinidhi would be. That's who I thought in the beginning, so I don't feel like changing it now.
Hmm.
ISL is Goa, and ISL this thing ISL League is Goa. Maybe
Hmm.
knockout could be somebody else. I don't know. Who was the other one? I League 3.
I League 2.
I League 2. That's very tough, man. I think either Dempo or Salgaonkar.
I think Dempo is looking really difficult,
Yeah, I.
right? Dempo
The
looking
thing is,
really
I
difficult.
don't think Dempo scores enough goals.
Yeah, I think Pratt's the first one to admit it. But Abreshmina, you want to give your before we close?
I don't think I need to give a different answer. It's
Okay.
pretty much on the same lines as Sandeep.
Yeah, for me it's OFC. OFC may even sneak the ISL. I still think
ISL
Mohammedan.
League.
No, the championship, the
That
league, the
knockout is
league,
different. League,
the league. I'm still hoping. But I'm not going to say anything because I'm known to have a Kali Zaman. I'm known to jinx things, so I'm not going to say my team's name. But I really hope they do something. Um, I League Two. It's too difficult to call, but it could be one of FCBU or Sporting, maybe.
two
And I
Bangalore clubs.
sorry,
You're picking two Bangalore clubs.
no, not Sporting di Bengaluru, Sporting Club di Goa.
Ah.
I should clarify.
Did I
And
say Salgaonkar or Sporting?
Sporting Club. It's Sporting Club de Goa, right?
No, no. Did I
Yes.
say Salgaonkar or Sporting?
I am not sure.
You
I'm
said
not sure.
Salvakar.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Sorry, sorry. I meant Sporting.
Yes. But yeah, I think that's it from us for prediction. And did we miss out on anything?
FCBU. Have you seen
Yeah.
FCBU play?
Yeah, I've
They're
seen
not bad.
FCU play. They're not bad. They're not
Yeah.
bad. That's what I said. I said it's
I was
either,
pleasantly surprised.
yeah. That's what
Chesterpol
I said.
had a man of the match performance, and I was like, wow.
Varela is a very good for
Yeah.
that. It's very good. You already jinxed Lobera. No, I didn't jinx Lobera. Lobera jinxed himself, right? But
Noguera
yeah,
is enjoying a great time. It's not
yeah,
like he had
and I think, like I said, Mohammedan might still pull a Mohammedan. So maybe Srinidhi 7 points is not insurmountable,
but
but
7 points is a lot, man.
7 points is a lot.
It's a lot.
But it's Mohammedan. Keep in mind it is Mohammedan. So Mohammedan might do
Yeah,
Mohammedan things,
yeah.
right? And but I think everybody would love for
The
them.
problem is Srinidhi loses this random games, which you would
Uh,
never expect them to lose.
no, but
Exactly.
the Aizawl, like these are difficult games also. Going to
But
that
you
elevation.
think they'll win, right? And they have also got this. I don't know why nobody spoke about this, but there was a game which Srinidhi played where a suspended player suspension was revoked, and there was all sorts of confusion that went on at that time, and Srinidhi was little upset about the whole
Real
situation.
Kashmir. Srinidhi Real Kashmir, that was.
They were a little upset about the whole
Yes.
situation because obviously, clearly, that's not fair on them. But
Mm.
nothing really came of it. I'm like, what is happening? I don't. Nobody even spoke about this.
Mm.
So who
Mm.
knows?
Yeah, BFC out of conversation, how the
Yeah,
mighty have fallen. Yeah, but
yeah.
I think we have a BFC fan on this pod, Sandeep Menon, obviously,
We
right?
have a
And
BFC chronicler on the spot, and
the
yes, I agree. They have completely fallen
they've
out. They
completely,
need a
but
striker. They got a striker, but it's not.
but they got a striker. But Zaragoza needs time. They got
I think they'll
uh,
get Sana also.
they'll get Sana. They got they got a discount Ospet though. They got another version of Ospet only again though.
Upset.
So, upset. So yeah, let's see. But no, they're not in the reckoning.
They
They're
are
not
not
in
in
the
the reckoning. I don't
and
see them doing another Simon
uh,
Grayson move.
neither do I see Northeast also. Northeast, I see them finishing below, out of the relegation, out
I
of the
wonder
sorry,
if
out
East
of the
Bengal
playoff.
can creep there. They are
East
eighth
Bengal,
now,
yeah,
a point
yeah,
away.
yeah, yeah.
But
But
we'll
yes, let's keep some ISL conversation for when we have Pride on the pod. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe. Get us to 2K. We are at 1K only. Poor people we are. Take care. We don't have fancy mics and all of that, but we do this out of our own time and like effort. So and we're all, like I said, we are always providing you the best perspective on Indian football. But yes, love you guys. Thanks. We'll try to be regular. Let us know who you want on the pod. We'll try to get them. And bhai market karenge the waves. We are really poor at it, right? But as somebody on the pod had said, the man does his pod from a dimly lit room and then goes back to it.
At
But
least he's lit up better today.
yeah,
Today
and
my lighting is
The
not
waves
great, but
wants us to hire.
we barely have money to
if you
sustain
want to
ourselves.
be a
We,
unpaid intern, we can do something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Peter Kratky, we are trying to get Peter Kratky. We
We are trying
want
to
to
get
get.
it. Yeah.
We are also trying to get other Mumbai City, other. The only team that we probably can't touch right now is Hyderabad FC for obvious reasons.
We are
But
trying. We are trying to get people. Thomas Dennerby is a long shot, but
Thomas John
no
is
reason why we can't try.
it's a long shot. He's probably done with Indian football also.
See, a
But
lot
yeah,
of the times when ex-coaches, I tried to speak to Sir Gregory, John
uh,
Gregory, and stuff earlier.
yeah,
A lot of them didn't even
yeah.
go for it.
Prad and Chad. We already have a Chad and Sandeep Menon here. We will
What does
get
that mean?
Prad. It's be up to date with Gen Z lingo, Sandeep.
I am not.
Anyway,
You tell me, no.
no, you go to Urban Dictionary and
See,
you
he
you get
doesn't
it.
know. Okay,
I
he's
know, I know,
pretending
I
like
know.
he knows.
Anyway, it's a sigma male. It's another term for a sigma male. Even I might be not getting it exactly right, but I'm not
Sigma
Gen Z,
male.
but
I have seen Sigma male.
sigma male. Yeah.
I would try
So
to consider myself as an Omega male, but
yeah,
whatever.
we'll try to get Fernando build astrologer. We can't. He lives near my house only, but we can't. But okay, man, this is great turnout, right? Trevor Sinclair, no,
Dude, I
he's
used to listen to him on Talksport, and I was like, this guy.
he was horrible. Is Hyderabad going to sustain next season? No, they'll just play in the Rahim League, man. It doesn't matter. Okay, that's us for tonight. Yeah, like, share, and subscribe. Get us to 2K. Get the best pod and the oldest pod in Indian football. Get us to 2K. Love as always, and the truth shall prevail. Bye bye.